This conference will now be recorded.
Now it's being recorded. Okay. Leah, the only guests I have noted are Mark Allen and John O'Reilly. Is anyone else present that I have noted? Nope. And our members present are Kent, Dan Hall, Larry, Joe Johnson, and yours truly.
Perfect. Thank you.
Along with John Rendon.
Great.
Okay. John, did you want to say something?
No.
No. First order of business is to review the minutes of the December 16th meeting of the Waterways Committee. You all should have received copies of those. John had sent them out a couple weeks ago, and again, he sent them out today. Have you had a chance to look at them? Any comments, corrections, or omissions? Hearing none, entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented. Anyone want to make a motion? Dan Hall? And who is the second?
Whatever, I'll motion.
Who made the second? Joe?
I wasn't there.
I will second. Kent.
Ken? Do you have that, Leah? Leah?
I do. Thank you.
All set. Consent agenda, there is none. Open forum, there is none. The financial report, John also sent it out to all of us, and it looks good. Any questions, comments?
Excuse me, Tom.
Yes.
Can you just take a vote on the minutes?
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Thank you for correcting me.
No problem.
All those in favor of accepting minutes as presented, signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Thanks, Leah.
I can just comment quickly on the revenue if you want, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, please, John.
Okay. So if you look at the month totals, it appears as if our December is, it is less than this time last year, 108,455 of revenue for the month of December. But again, as you've heard me say time and again, a lot of it is timing. Visitor dockage is higher. Again, that just is, we had a couple other boats come in later, so that number went up. Seasonal dockage, that's just, again, the renewal process. And so that's a timing thing. Offloading permits, again, we are going to be, I think our offloading permits are going to be lower this year. Some of that's timing, but we're going to have a decrease in our offloading permits because we don't have as many B permit holders, which are the commercial winter term commercial boats that come in and operate out of Saquatucket. Last year, we had somewhere in the range of 21, I think, commercial boats that came and operated out of Saquatucket and purchased the B permit. This year, I think we're only at 14 or so. So the offloading permit number, I think, will be off, we'll see, but the transient dockage won't be that off because we have a larger number of recreational boats that are staying in the harbor over the winter. And they pay a winter rate that goes into that transient dockage number. But outside of that, I think we're tracking pretty well. So if there's any questions, I can certainly answer.
Joe, why do you think the offload permit's down?
Because we have less of the commercial.
Right, but where have they gone?
Well, some of them remained in Chatham and are working off of moorings instead of coming in into Saquatucket.
Okay.
So that number varies, every year. It just depends on whether these commercial commercial fishing boats want to come in and operate out of Saquatucket for the winter. So it's not that number fluctuates.
Great. It still looks good. We're 92,500 over last year, so
Absolutely.
we're running ahead.
It's real good. Yeah.
Any other comments or questions of John, our harbor master?
Yeah, Tom, it's Hines.
Yes, Heinz.
And I don't mean to step on John's toes, and he knows that. But some of that is driven by a very cold winter and ice conditions in the Chatham area that might drive some of that. So I'm not going to say that's the reason, but that could be a factor.
I think another factor, since Heinz spoke up, is the depth of water. If you remember last year, Saquatucket was about shoaled in, Stage Harbor was about shoaled in.
Oh,
And so there was really no option for those commercial guys who typically operate out of Stage and offload there at Stage Harbor. And as you know, Chatham spent a ton of money opening up that waterway. And so while it's starting to close in a little bit, those boats can still come and go. And so there wasn't that urgent need to get out of there and operate at Saquatucket this year.
thank you, Heinz. Thank you, John. Any other questions or comments? Then we'll move forward. Leah, there's no request for approval of this report, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know. Am I correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. All right.
Welcome.
New business. Proposed seasonal aluminum dock structure at 18 Captain Todd Way. John O'Reilly and Associates. And I believe you said John O'Reilly is here or Mark Allen is here. Or are they both here?
We are both here, Chair.
Okay, floor is yours.
Thank you. For the record, I'm John O'Reilly, project engineer. I've been working with the Allens for this property on Captain Todd Way, which abuts Long Pond. The Allens are in the process of trying to purchase the property, and they're going through their due diligence. And one of the things that is very important to them is the ability to place a seasonal dock within the waters of Long Pond. So they engaged my firm to develop the plans that you have in front of you, which we proposed a seasonal aluminum dock. It's a prefabricated product. It comes in sections that are 10 feet long and 4 feet wide. It sits on the bottom. There is no dredging or no jetting that is required, and the structure itself will be completely removed in the fall and reinstalled in the following spring. The dock, as it's designed, is in conformance with the regulations set forth in the town of Harwich for freshwater docks. We are 78 feet, just about 78 feet offshore from the edge of the water. The dock is 4 feet wide, as I said, and does have a small landing at the end of it, which is outlined in your regulations. It's less than 100 square feet. We, in looking at the configuration of the dock and talking with the Allens, we certainly have extended the dock out up to the outer limits of what the town requires. And the reason for that is we're showing about 5 feet of water at the end of the dock. This was a water reading that was taken within the last 30 to 40 days. We also did some survey work for the property earlier in the fall, and we found the water about 6 inches lower than what it was of the date of the plan. So we were showing at the time, we would have been showing at the time 4.5 feet of water. So given the seasonality fluctuation of Long Pond, we'd be looking to try to get this dock out as it's proposed. I did have an opportunity to flag the end of the dock for the harbor master and the natural resources officer. We had a site visit last Thursday, I think it was. The dock is centrally located between the eastern and western property lines. We're about 60 feet off the eastern line and about 86 feet off the western line for the location of the dock. Other than that, we hope you folks look at this as a straightforward proposal for a freshwater seasonal dock, and would be happy to answer any questions.
First, Heinz, could you make a comment on the shellfish issue? And I'll go to John after. Heinz, you there? I guess we lost Heinz, so.
Oh,
John,
no, I had to unmute. So you got me now?
Yep, we got you now.
My comments are pretty straightforward and simple. There aren't any issues with, shellfish in Long Pond or eelgrass. And the only one that would come across resources would be possible obstruction to any fish passage. Well, Long Pond's the largest water body on Cape Cod. Any fish swimming in or near that area could easily bypass whatever's there. So I'm not opposed to anything that I saw on site, or not anything to oppose for what I read in the project. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Heinz. John, Harbor Master, please. Your comments?
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, we did a site visit, and I'll make a couple of points. One is, I know the Allens are here, and nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Beautiful property, and generally speaking, I don't have a problem with the way it's designed. I had made the point that if they could bring it in closer to shore and still achieve their required depth, bylaw says you have to have a minimum of 2.5 feet underneath the float, that I'd ask them to consider that. It sounds like they considered it and aren't necessarily in favor of bringing it in closer. Like John said, I think they're within the bylaw regulations. My only point was, I like to see things closer to shore than out in the middle of, further out into the waterway for obvious reasons. If we can achieve the depths and keep it closer to shore, that's always a good thing in my mind. But so I'm not going to give any kind of disapproval over that fact. I just ask that they consider that. It is seasonal. I guess the only real issue that I have is they don't own the property yet. And I know they're in the process. So I am not in a position to say that that I recommend this or that it should be approved. I don't see any issue with it, but in order to get approval, I think you need to own the property, at least from my perspective. People who come to the Harbor Master Department to get a mooring, a private property mooring on Long Pond, they have to show that they own residential waterfront property. That's what the regulation says. And we require them to show a deed showing that they have ownership of the property. And I would think that it would be very, very much the same. And I know they're in the process, and I'm sure that's going to happen. And when it does happen, I wouldn't recommend that they come back in front of the waterways, but from my perspective currently, I can say that I don't see any real issues with the proposal, but that I won't recommend approval until there's ownership.
Thank you, John. Any comments or questions? No comments or questions from anyone?
I have just one for John.
Who is this?
This is Kent.
Ken, okay.
Yep. Just at the end of the dock where they want to put the extra sections for the landing, or whatever you want to call that, is that, there's no issues in the town of Harwich's bylaws for that? John?
You're asking John Rendon, the harbor master? Or
Yes.
John?
Yes,
I'm asking
yes.
John, I'm sorry, yeah, John.
Okay, that's okay. No, as long as the float doesn't exceed 200 square feet is the regulation. So I think they're within the requirement.
And I have a question, John. Is water skiing allowed on Long Pond?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
See? I'm not a water skier, so I didn't know. Any other comments? Well, do you want to vote on this contingent on the acquisition of the property rather than just voting on it without the Allens owning the property? How do we want to address this?
Through the chair,
Who's that?
it's John O'Reilly.
Yes, John?
When Mr. Reardon and I were out at the site, he expressed the concern about ownership, and quite frankly, it didn't even occur to me. But one thing I did offer to him is, I know your role here is recommendation, I believe, to the commission.
That's
and
correct.
ultimately, the commission does approve the project. I don't think there's any issue at all with if you do go ahead and recommend the project, that you recommend that there is a condition that the Allens own the property before the dock is installed. I know it's going to, if the sale goes through, I know it's going to happen, but to alleviate some concern and keep it more like normal operations, if you will, I'm happy to accept that kind of condition from the order from the Conservation Commission.
Well, we're not the Conservation Commission, so we're the Waterways Commission.
No, all I was saying, sir, was that if you wanted to include a condition that, include in your recommendations that a condition be applied, that was my only thought when John Reardon and I were on the site.
Okay. Anyone else have any comment from the committee as to how to structure this motion? Dan? Or
Yeah, I mean, I just say we make a motion to approve the dock with the condition that the sale goes through. You know, they retain ownership of the property before the dock is built.
I second that.
That's pretty
Dan-
straightforward, I think.
Dan Hall made the motion. Who seconded it?
Jay,
Who? Jay?
roll call.
Yep. Do you have that, Leah?
I do.
I don't see any reference that we can use for the motion. Usually we reference a plan.
December 4th.
Yeah, the plan is dated,
The print is so small, I can't read it.
I'm sorry, the plan is dated December 11th, 2020.
Which plan? Is that the plan that's on the screen now?
Yes.
Yes, if you scroll down to the title block, you'll see the date.
Okay.
God, I can't.
You want me to increase it for you?
No. Leah?
Yes.
Dan Hall made the motion and Jay Walpole seconded it to approve the plan
As proposed.
as proposed by Mark and Brianne Allen, prepared by J.M. O'Reilly and Associates, Inc., dated 12/11/2020. There's no plan number. It's just got a JMO 8788A as the job number. John, is that correct to describe
That is
it
correct,
way?
sir.
No, John Reardon. I'm sorry. Is that-
If you're asking me, that's the plan that I've reviewed and that has been submitted, the only addition. So yes, I would reference the job number and the date, and I think you're all set.
Okay. Leah, would you read back the motion, please?
Motion was made by Dan Hall to approve the plan dated 12/11/20, job number JM 8788A, contingent on the acquisition of the property of the dock before the dock is installed.
Right, for Mark and Brianne Allen. Did you get that?
Yep, I'll add that in.
Any further discussion or questions on the
Can
motion?
I speak, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure I like the word acquisition. I would say ownership. And maybe it's apples and oranges, I don't know, but I'd like to see that they own the property.
I'm not an attorney, but I won't disagree. So Leah, could you change that
Sure can.
from acquisition to ownership?
Yes.
Could you reread the motion, please?
A motion to approve the plan dated December 11th, 2020, job number JMO 8788A for Mark and Brianne Allen, contingent on the ownership of the property before the dock is installed.
I would say by them, because we don't want this open for anybody else buying the property.
Ownership, where do you want me to add by them?
Ownership
by
them.
Mark and Brianne.
Right,
Gotcha.
by Mark and Brianne. Does everyone understand the motion? Any comments, corrections, or omissions to the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? The motion is carried. Good luck on your acquisition.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys for your time. Appreciate it.
Okay. That's not this. I lost my minutes now. Guess we're on monthly reports. None from the Board of Selectmen, none. Harbor Master, John, do you have a report you'd like to make?
I'll just speak briefly. You know, I didn't do a monthly because we submit our annual report
That's okay.
this month, and I submitted it, and I'll share that at next meeting. I'll send you a copy of it. But just a real quick update. Went to the Board of Selectmen for the mooring servicing agent contracts that I came before you last time. They approved those, so those are approved and done. And I also went in front of the board with the unattached C permit, cell designation permit, and again, they approved that. So we are in the process of reaching out to those people who are on the unattached list and, you know, trying to assign that. So both were approved by the board.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Good results. Heinz, Resource Officers report?
Yeah, hello. So I usually don't do the monthly reports, although I would answer any questions at these meetings in regards to anything natural resources related. But I also have written a year-end summary, you know, town annual report for natural resources, and I will forward that along to you as well. So you have it, and the rest of the committee can have it certainly by the next meeting, because they're due this Friday to the town administrator. So I can then also copy you as well.
Great. Thank you.
I got
Heinz.
one more thing, if I can,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, just as
Yes.
a kind of an FYI. as you know, we're in the process of redoing the Round Cove boat ramp, and that's proceeding. Their delivery date is 1 May, but you'll start seeing work. They're starting to prefab the panels, the concrete panels, and so forth. But one thing you might see is today. I don't know if those of you who know the Route 28 Herring River boat ramp, small ramp that is heavily used during the summer, and in the winter, it's used by some of our commercial shell fishermen. That ramp is in really bad shape, and so we had the highway department out there today at low tide, put a form in and added some concrete and tried to improve it. So it's shut for the next 3 days until we can try to get that concrete to cure. But if you see the forms and the place closed up, that's why.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Sure.
Any questions of the harbor master and the natural resource officer? Hearing none, we'll move forward. There are no correspondence. Our next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, February 17th, 2021. And I'll entertain a motion to adjourn, which is, wow, 6:29. Anyone making a motion? You want to stay around? You know what? Dan Hall wants to make a motion. Dan Hall makes the motion. Second.
What are we waiting for?
Second,
Who made the second?
Kent.
Kent. Dan Hall made the motion and Kent seconded it. You have it, Lisa? Leah, I'm sorry. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carried. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all. Whoa, we're already shut off.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Good job, guys.
All right. Good night.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, Leah.